and a rebroadcast at 11 a.m. The Glenn Lall Show, only on Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM.
The third world is not poor. You don't go to poor countries to make money. There are very few poor countries in this world. Only the people are poor. When people didn't have enough to eat, when people were driven to the edge of desperation, there's billions to be made there, to be carved out and to be taken. The capitalist European and North American powers have carved out and taken the timber, the bauxite. They have taken out of these countries. These countries are not underdeveloped. They're overexploited. They're overexploited. They're overexploited. The third world is not poor. You don't go to poor countries to make money. There are very few poor countries in this world. Only the people are poor. When people didn't have enough to eat, when people were driven to the edge of desperation, there's billions to be made there, to be carved out and to be taken. The capitalist European and North American powers have carved out and taken the timber, the bauxite. They have taken out of these countries. These countries are not underdeveloped. They're overexploited. They're overexploited. They're overexploited.
Hours 21 in Guyana, right across the Eastern Caribbean. It is Friday. It is the 16th day of December 2022, with 9 days remaining to that big day we call Christmas Day. Welcome to this what do we call it? A wet edition of the Glenn Lall Show. It's a little bit cold outside, and we hope that everyone is all tucked in bed or in their living room, ready to rumble this evening on the Glenn Lall Show. This evening, immediately after our presentation, we'll entertain some calls at 226-745-324, 622-2222, or 624-6456. Cowboy Glenn, it's my pleasure to introduce this man to you. Do you know him? Well, in 54321, he's now on your screens. Tell me if you know him. Over to you, sir. Namaste.
I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad. Ho ho! Sound good there, Josh?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas. Namaste, Josh.
Namaste.
But tonight I want a Christmas gift from all of you, including you, Josh.
No problem.
And I'll tell you what I want at the end of this program. How does that sound?
No problem. Good.
All right. Thank you. I tell you guys, including you, Josh, never lose hope. We will win.
Indeed.
It's only time we will win. Today, Uncle and Auntie, the Guyanese people, got a victory with the help of 3 superb citizens of this country. They challenged the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, in court for granting a permit. You will have to listen to the end of my program for the details, the victory. So let's get kicking. The profit share, they're not clear on. The royalties, they're also not clear on. As for the expenses and the costs, that's sailing down the Essequibo, Berbice, and Demerara rivers. The interest rate, we don't know. And while we're in the dark tunnel and hungry this Christmas, ExxonMobil and others sailing away in the Atlantic Ocean with our oil. With that, I say namaste. Namaste, Joshua.
Namaste.
This is my final program, Uncle and Auntie, for 2022. So, I hope you guys would relax with me and enjoy tonight's program. Throughout the year, 3 times a week, I have been pouring out my heart, my guts, and my soul, trying to bring the truth to all of you. Though I have said so much, there was a whole world of issues, information, details, skullduggeries that I just couldn't bring to your attention, and I am deeply sorry about that. I wish myself and the staff of the Kaieteur News could have done much, much more. But hey, it's God's will. Yeah, He let us to do what we did throughout the year. Indeed. And that's all we did. Tonight, this being the final program for 2022, it breaks my heart to tell you that the government headed by President Ali and the opposition headed by Aubrey Norton and Kemad Ramjatan have failed all of us. Failed all of us in eking out a better life from these great resources our Creator has blessed us with. Sad. Sad indeed that we have reached to this point after many years and throughout 2022 of constant disclosures, non-stop effort to correct the mistakes, close the loopholes, address the weaknesses, and manage this US $1 trillion oil sector in a better way. All has fallen on deaf ears. Tonight, you will hear 6 years after finding oil, the politicians can't tell us exactly what Guyana is getting out of our oil. But they can cock them foot on their sofa enjoying the fruits of life while your children drinking black tea in the richest and fastest growing economy on earth. Yep. I want to highlight some of the most horrible things we all should be worried about. Vice President Jagdeo, when asked if the royalties are being recovered, told us at a press conference that he doesn't want to put his mouth into something that he may have to walk back on. And further said, the lawyers will have to look at that, meaning he didn't know. Couldn't say definitively whether ExxonMobil was thieving back that unbelievable 2% royalty Guyana was getting. He couldn't tell us. Something as important as that, Joshua, Jagdeo couldn't tell us. What even a dead plucked chicken in the oven would know? Jagdeo telling Guyana he has to ask lawyers and don't want to say anything that he has to walk back on. Hear that, Josh? Mm-hmm. The second press conference, without being asked, he addressed the issue, and I am still to comprehend exactly what he told Guyana about that 2% royalty, whether it is being taken back or not. We don't have time tonight to play those tapes. Again, for you people, it's Christmas, and I want you guys to have a merry, merry, merry Christmas. Then, on the profit share, he told Guyana on my radio program, Guyana is getting 50, 52, 59, whatever you define it as. So there you go. The only 2 things the Guyanese people depends on to put milk in their children's tea, some food on the table, buy some eggs to make a Christmas cake. Out of this massive oil, the man who was put in charge of this most important sector seems not to give a damn to give us any answers. Please listen to this new answer on the old question about how much Guyana really getting on the profit share from our oil. Exxon posting up billboards all across this country with misleading information. And he was asked to comment on the billboards and what exactly Guyana is getting. This is what he gave Guyana for Christmas as an answer. You would hear, listen to him carefully, uncle. You would hear how his voice changes. Could you please play that tape?
Another quick one. Exxon has embarked on a billboard campaign. Some have even called it a brainwashing
Oh, I didn't
campaign.
see any of the billboards. Where are the billboards?
It's
I
across
saw
the
it
river
in the
and so
paper,
on.
but where is it?
It's across the river, and they're claiming that
I go from my place to here. They don't, none along the East Coast. So say I've not seen any of the billboards. When I see, I'll give you a comment.
But they're claiming that we're getting 52%.
No, well,
Guyana's
no,
share
no,
52%.
no,
So
no.
can you shed some?
No, the
some
thing is
clarity?
that I saw how they're claiming the 50% from profit oil and then 52. That might not be the most egregious thing because it is accurate that 52%. That if you look at how it's calculated, so it's 50%.
But that's
of the
only
profit.
after our 75 is deducted towards the cost of expenses.
Yeah, yes. When
So
you
how
when
then
you,
is that accurate? I'm not sure I
but
get
if
this.
you see, I did not want it. If you look at the life cycle, normally you look at the life cycle of the project. It can be done simply. So that if you look at the life cycle at 50, we had the simulations done of 50, 60, and $100, right? So this is here. If it's $100, it works out to about 50%. If it's $50 over the life cycle of the project, it's close to 50 something percent, 56%.
Okay.
Life cycle of the project. That is why I didn't want to get complex, because what do you have to look at? Number of years of production, how many barrels are produced, multiply that by the price per barrel at the $50, then calculate how much government take will be.
So you don't
and
think it's
then-
misleading?
No, I don't think that is misleading. There may be other things that I'm not agree with, right? So, but I don't think that's misleading.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
You hear his tone of voice, how when that question was posed to him? Total bullies, he said there. Complete nonsense, Jack Dave said, give an answer to there just now. Joshua, uncle and auntie, he ended his answer to my reporter question by saying he don't think it is misleading. Those billboards appeared on the Kaieteur News front page on 3 consecutive days with the misleading information, and he telling us in this Christmas season, Joshua, that he got to go see it for himself to determine if the information is correct or not. You believe this thing? Huh? ExxonMobil responded to me, Lall, about the misleading information on the billboard. Sorry, they did not respond to me on the information on the billboards. You understand? They respond to me, but never address that. Never address the information. The only thing they addressed was that no oil money will come out from the cost for the billboards. That's all they respond. And Jack Davis is saying that is correct. Exxon didn't say whether the information Glenn says wrong, but he said correct. That was ExxonMobil Christmas gift to Guyana. They're not taking out the billboard costs from we profit. All this going on, uncle and auntie, and Jack Day unconscious. It's like he in a coma where this oil is concerned. You know, uncle, this reminds me of a neighbor. hanging his dirty underwear in my front yard, in front my face, and me telling me family, I ain't seeing it. Yes. This can never be real what is happening in this country. This can never be real in the fastest growing economy on earth. Me and my staff dealing with this issue round the clock, uncle, 24/7. And we can't believe that this is actually happening in this wealthiest country on earth per capita. You know that? We can't, when we discuss our meeting, we just can't understand what's happening in this land. My reporter asked him a simple question. What really is the total take Guyana is receiving from this oil? And the answer Jagdeo gave, he agrees with Exxon 52% in one breath, and in the next breath he disagrees. You mean to God Almighty, the ex-president of Guyana, now the vice president put in charge of the oil, cannot say definitively what is the total percentage we getting out of we oil, man? And to this day, huh? Hey, brother, are you for real, sister? You want me to play him back, man? Huh? As a Christmas gift for all of you to listen? Play it back, please. Play it back.
Another quick one. Exxon has embarked on a billboard campaign. Some have even called it a brainwashing
I
campaign.
didn't see any of the billboards. Where are the billboards?
It's
I
across
saw
the
it
river
in the
and so
paper,
on.
but where is it?
It's across the river, and they're claiming that...
I go from my place to here. They don't, none along the East Coast. So say I've not seen any of the billboards. When I see, I'll give you a comment.
But they're claiming that we're getting 52%.
No, well,
Guyana's
no,
share
no,
52%.
no,
So
no.
can you give us, can you shed some
No, the
some
thing is
clarity?
that I saw how they're claiming the 50% from profit oil and then 52. That might not be the most egregious thing because it is accurate that 52%. That if you look at how it's calculated, so it's 50%.
But that's
of the
only
profit.
after our 75 is deducted towards the cost of expenses.
Yeah, yes. When
So
you
how
when
then
you,
is that accurate? I'm not
No,
sure I
but
get
if you see, I did not want it. If you look at the life cycle, normally you look at the life cycle of the project. It can be done simply. So if you look at the life cycle at 50, we had the simulations done of 50, 60, and $100, right? So this is here. If it's $100, it works out to about 50%. If it's $50 over the life cycle of the project, it's close to 50 something percent, 56%.
Okay.
Life cycle of the project. That is why I didn't want to get complex, because what do you have to look at? Number of years of production, how many barrels are produced, multiply that by the price per barrel at the $50, then calculate how much government take will be.
So you don't think
then,
it's misleading?
No, I don't think that is misleading. There may be other things that I'm not agree with, right? So, but I don't think that's misleading.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
Joshua,
Yes, sir.
Joshua is a set of nonsense madness that man spoke there.
Nonsense is decent to say.
Are you see what game this man playing here? Twisting and turning like a snake on a simple, straightforward question my reporter asked him. The billboard said we are getting 52%. Could you shed some facts? He went on to tell the girl, the thing is that I saw how they are claiming the 52% from profit oil. That might not be the most egregious thing because it is accurate. That 52%, that if you look at it, how it is being calculated. Gosh, my gosh. when I listen to this thing, it confuses my soul as a human being, much and a businessman, much less an ordinary vendor in this country. This is not accidental what is happening here, my brother. This is part of a scheme going on. The sellout of this country's wealth, our resources, uncle and auntie. How on God's earth Bharat Jagdev can tell this country what amount of money we have to get on a daily basis when the contracts spell it out clear? The contract says 2% royalty and 50% after 75% of the total revenues taken out as oil expenses, uncle. How come this vice president can't tell us precisely and with authority what is Guyana's total take in this oil business we have? How come? Huh? If a leader can't tell us exactly how much money you must get as a country, as you share, uncle and auntie, then what else this man can tell us? You tell me, man. I am begging you guys, tell me. Give me an answer. If you don't know the exact amount of money you getting from you coconut farm, or you rice field, or you mango farm, uncle, then what business you really running? It's better you tell the people to come and take the thing and go along the way. Not that true, man? Oh. Jagdev going round and round in circles. Round and round like a belly dancer to spin we head, making us a set of fools with those clongish words that came out his mouth. You know why he dancing like that, uncle? Exxon Mobil is recovering that royalties paid to Guyana. And that 50% profit share they said on pen and paper, we are not receiving it. So the billboards is totally false, incorrect. And Jagdev, of all persons, with all his financial gurus at his side, Ashni Singh and the others, know that Guyana is getting shafted. This is why he cannot come out clear and tell this nation, well, listen, Guyana, listen. This is what you're getting out of your oil. Let me tell you guys this. This is a question that has been on my mind quite a while now. And this question will meet them in their faces every time I see them. Until we have the right answer, trust me, I'll be asking them. As of now, I can be definitive to tell all of Guyana, all of you, uncle, that 52% they say Guyana is getting is false. It's misleading. It's inaccurate. It's deceptive. No matter how many billboards they put up in this country and how much Jagdev dance on his head, the bottom line, Guyana is not receiving 52% as set out in the Exxon Mobil contract. And that I can prove beyond the shadow of a doubt. But I will not do it as yet. That is not my place to tell Guyana. The rightful people, President Ali, Vice President Jagdev, Norton and Ramjatan, them have to tell you that. However, if them want to continue ducking and dancing and playing games, then Lall will show you how we are being taken for a ride on a donkey in the open fields. This oil find, uncle and auntie, has made Guyana the richest country per citizen in the world. It has also made Guyana into the fastest growing economy on planet Earth with the biggest GDP. Guyana is now the talk in the whole world. Even the animals and birds singing the Guyana song all over the world, man. Yes. But when it comes to our politicians, you believe that some cat carry the tongue. You can laugh. You can laugh, auntie. It's the Christmas season. You can laugh. Look at the Christmas the citizens of the fastest growing economy is having. Can't go in the market to buy tomato and potato, plantain or cassava for make a metagy on Christmas Day. Can't go in the beef stall and buy bread, or in the bread shop to buy bread for make pepper pot for Christmas morning. Could you believe this thing, man? The world should hear this. The fastest growing economy, and this 3/4 of the citizens can buy beef and bread for make pepper pot Christmas morning. This may sound out of context with my story tonight, uncle, but I have to mention it. Yesterday, the Georgetown mayor and an opposition MP was charged and placed before the courts. Out of nowhere, a large protest erupted, which I have no problem with. I fully support all those people who rallied with the mayor and the MP. That's their right in a free and democratic society. But I said to my staff and a few friends, my God, if Lall can have that group of people on the streets for what the leader is allowing Exxon Mobil to do to Guyana, oh gosh, trust me on this one. None of the vendors, trust me, none of the vendors across this country, including the ones that supported the mayor, would have to sell in the streets of Georgetown to make $1 for their children if they only had joined Lall in this fight. All of them, and the entire Guyanese populace can live a life overnight that we so rightly deserve from that massive oil wealth discovered in Guyana. But they choose to protest over the mayor and the MP charge, rather than taking to the streets to protest for their God-given riches, their rightful share of their oil wealth. Joshua?
Yes, sir.
Auntie? Unbelievable, eh?
Like they don't know what to protest for, guys. They got to protest for their family generation.
Oh, it's so sad what's happening in this land. I feel like singing the Christmas song again. Should I?
You have to say,
Uncle and auntie, and to all those protesters, please wrap your heads around this massive gift that God Almighty blessed us with. And let's fight for it. It's ours. And it also belongs to our future children and grandchildren. Why are we allowing the foreigners to so barefacedly steal our inheritance and not protesting over that, man? Huh? You see why I'm taking a break for the Christmas holidays? I need to clear my head and recharge my batteries and have a little fun with my family and friends. I have to. This girl, Oprah Winfrey, came from nothing and nowhere, but has become a huge voice in the world today. that I love to listen whenever I flick that television channel and she's on. I love to listen to her. She has a message for you. Give them, Joshua.
You are responsible for your life. And if you're sitting around waiting on somebody to save you, to fix you, to even help you, you are wasting your time, because only you have the power to take responsibility to move your life forward.
Oh, you have to take charge of your life. Oprah says just now. Nobody is going to do anything for you. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. Oprah Winfrey didn't have to tell Glenn Lall that, uncle. I have been preaching that same message from the beginning of this program. Get up and get. Get up and join the protests. Fight for your share. Jagdev and the rest of the politicians, them, ain't going to do nothing for you. You got to do for yourself. Them doing for themselves and their families. You got to do for yourself and your family. If not, cat gonna eat you plus your family. And it don't start happening. Exxon and the politicians eating of your cake, plus them eating of your bake. Let me show you how they're eating of your cake. Not only the Christmas cake, they're eating your wedding cake, plus your birthday cake, and every other cake you have that nobody touching or eating. Oprah Winfrey didn't go from nothing to reach the $1 billion bracket, depending on other people, uncle. No. She got on her feet and did what she had to do. When you coming off your chair onto your feet to do something to become wealthy like Oprah, huh? We already are billionaires with that kind of wealth for every citizen in this country out there. Money like sand on our land. Money like drizzle in the ocean out there. And all of you finding time to protest with the mayor, to sell on the streets to make a few dollars, but not protesting for the billions of US dollars staring you in your face, in which all the foreigners fetching away. Oh, what a Christmas. Merry Christmas, brother. I give you guys a heads up on the royalties and the profit sharing as set out in the contract. Now let's get to the real meat, the real beef, chicken, mutton, goat and prawns, whiskey and champagne, Mercedes-Benz and sophisticated mansions. Yes, that belongs to you, but you can't get it. Yes, you can't get it because of the expenses the oil company is throwing at us. Yes. Let's get to that, the expenses. The money being spent out there, uncle, which we oil got to pay for before we get profit. Yes. I asked Jagdeo, who is monitoring and authorizing these expenses or bills? And the story this man told me at his press conference last Friday, silently in my mind, I was saying, God, please help the Guyanese people. They're in more trouble than they can ever dream of being in, with Bharat Jagdev at the helm of this oil sector. Who does not want to be part of or have a say in a business in which them got to get half of the profit? You guys know of anybody, huh? even if you and a man mining 1,000 chicken for split profit half and half, wait man, you don't have to know the price your partner paying for the chicken feed. You don't got to know the price the man paying for bring the chicken feed to the pen. You don't have to know how much he paying the workers for clean the pen every day. Or you can just accept the bills what he tell you he spend. Huh? You know any business run like that? You know any partner business run like that, uncle? Or even if you don't get to ask him up front how much the feed gonna cost. Man, when the feed come, you're not gonna question the bill right away, brother? So let me ask this simple question. If you not do none out of them three things I said, what are you opening yourself up to with a partner? Not rape you and take your clothes off, man? Huh? Especially if you're dealing with a known gangster. Uncle and auntie. That is how Jagdeo running VIL sector out there. Not checking them projects worth billions of US dollars. Not approving any of the US $1 million contracts ExxonMobil giving out. Just allowing Exxon to deduct whatever they have to deduct and give Guyana whatever they feel like giving Guyana. That is the 50-50 partnership Guyana got with Exxon out there, according to Jagdeo. That is why he couldn't be, and he can't say definitively what percentage, what total take Guyana carrying home. I'll play him just now for you to hear. Everybody I talk to tells me, Glenn, every time I listen to your program, I get a headache. I can understand that, guys. Glenn Lall used to get instant headache every day in the newsroom discussing these type of issues. Yes, the type of insanity that goes on as good governance in this country. But not anymore. Thank you, Father. Thank you. Father above, He has now blessed me with much strength to not be bothered too much. Even if Jagdeo say a baby can fly a plane or the moon will change course, it will now raise in the west, in the east, and set in the west. Even if he tell me that, it wouldn't offend me or break my spirit. It wouldn't bother me anymore, uncle. Nothing the politicians do and say can trouble me anymore. Matter of fact, that is what sent me to the hospital last year, November, with a mini stroke. And I have overcome it so far, 95%. How can the leaders of a country don't check, don't approve spendings by gangsters operating a business in your country in which they have to share half and half profit of a businessman? Huh? This is unheard of in my entire lifetime as a businessman. This should have bring out every dog and cat into the streets to tell these politicians, stop messing around with our future and that of our livelihood. Man, not even a cake shop or a market vendor would allow something like that to carry on. Now I will play him. Hear what he said after I asked him who is monitoring the expenses on behalf of all of us and all the Guyanese populace. Could you please play his tape? We are in a 50-50 business. And you just talk about that profit, how it's being shared. Who's monitoring these expenses? Who is monitoring these expenses on behalf of all of us here, the entire Guyanese population?
We're a 50-50 business, not from a management perspective. So, Sinok, let me just Yeah, so you have a different view. So Sinok is an investor. The Hess is an investor. Exxon is an investor. The three of them own the consortium. So then they hire an operator, which is the management firm. So even Sinok, who has 25% shares and has 35% shares, they don't make management decisions. They don't make management decisions. And they own the 100% of this venture. They own 100% of it.
Is Guyana a
We get 50% of the profit, but we're not 50% of the owners of the company. With the companies owned 100% by these three entities that I just explained. We get 50% of the profit. So it's...
We only get 50% profit of something.
All right. Okay. Yeah, but you got my answer there, right? Yeah.
Man, this is insanity to the highest. That answer is insanity to the highest. Coming from the mouth of an ex-president and now vice president. Uncle, me ask the man who monitor the expenses in which Guyana, the owner of the oil, have to get 50% profits after this oil sell and the expenses are taken out. Now me ask the man. Now, Guyana don't want to hear who them hire and who own 100% of the company out there. All Guyana want to know is about who monitoring the bills and expenses so that we can get our rightful share, Jack Dale. What is so difficult about that? What this man can't understand there? This man went on to tell us a whole rigmarole story about how Jim Cock make ram goat. What is going on in this country? Can somebody help me? Father above, are you hearing me? Please help us.
Help us here, Father. Help us.
A matter of fact, Uncle, that company, Jack, they say Exxon hire for manage the oil operations out there. Guyana should know how much money Exxon is paying them to. Because that is an expense that has to come out before we get our 50% profit. And we have a right to know that. Yes. The three companies and the people who them hire to manage the oil out there is none of our business, Uncle. All we want to hear from Jagdeo is who monitoring the costs, the investments, the expenses, so that we can get our rightful 50% share and not being raped and robbed. What is so difficult, brother? The contract say we are to get 50% profit out of the entire business every day. And we have a right to know the entire cost of operating the business out there. That is how a business does run, Jagdeo. We are not just a partner that will sit down like a donkey and accept whatever is thrown at us. No, sir. That's not how business runs in this world today. Can men behave like that? Business don't run like that. Each partner must have a say in every cent spent and earned. That's how a business runs. Can I ask, where is the private sector commission? The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry? Can I ask, where is the business community out there as to what this man is telling Guyana? Please? Auntie, you want to hear who your neighbor hire for manage and run he half of the business? That shouldn't be a cost in the books. That is a cost. He got to pay that out of his 50% profit. Not true, man? Joshua?
Yes, of course.
So Jagdeo telling us them hire a company for manage and run the oil operation out there has nothing to do with us. Nothing, completely nothing. But he finds something to say. You know that? He finds something to say because this is why he's not allowing Guyana to see how Exxon is taking out the 75% before they share profit. You hear me? Yes, he's not allowing Guyana to see how Exxon is taking out that 75% before they share profit. This is where the biggest shaft taking place on Guyana, uncle and auntie. Taking out 75% of every barrel as expenses. Jagdeo telling us we don't own anything out there. That the people own 100% out there. We own oil. Mr. Jagdeo. we own oil, Mr. Jagdeo. I think you're right to say that they brought in their equipment. Yes, you were right when they say they brought in their own equipment. But who's paying the loans they took to buy those same equipment? Guyana. Guyana oil, uncle and auntie. So how dare Jagdeo say Guyana ain't own nothing out there? Huh? You see this man sick? You see this man need medication on how to run business or how to run a country, man? Huh? This is not even a sellout, uncle. This is worse than what the African leaders did to Africa. And something got to be done with this thing. And something got to be done quickly, uncle and auntie. I know it's Christmas, but something got to be done quickly. Since when you and a neighbor sharing profit in a business half and half, and one party doesn't know anything, man, doesn't ask anything, or doesn't care to know anything? Huh? Man, play back the thing, let people hear him, man. We are in a 50-50 business. And you just talk about that profit, how it's being shared. Who's monitoring these expenses? Who is monitoring these expenses on behalf of all of us here, the entire Guyanese population?
We're a 50-50 business, not from a management perspective. So Sinok, let me just, so you have a different view. So Sinok is an investor. The Hess is an investor. Exxon is an investor. The three of them own the consortium. So then they hire an operator, which is the management firm. So even Sinok, who has 25% shares and has 35% shares, they don't make management decisions. They don't make management decisions. And they own the 100% of this venture. They own 100% of it.
Is Guyana a 50%?
We get 50% of the profit, but we're not 50% of the owners of the company. With the companies own 100% by these three entities that I just explained. We get 50% of the profit. So
we only get 50% profit of something.
All right. Okay. Yeah, but you got my answer there, right? Yeah.
I tell him you only get 50%. You can only get 50% profit if you own something, you know. We own the oil, man. We own the loans. We were paying the debts. We get 50% of the profit. From where and out of what? That's the key question he should have answered with an explanation. But he didn't. He brushed it aside. You know, Josh, I think he was ashamed to tell us. ExxonMobil taking out 75% every day of the total sale as expenses, and the 25% will remain is boss half and half. Guyana gets 12.5, and ExxonMobil gets 12.5. So Exxon walking away with 87.5% in profit and expenses, while Guyana gets 12.5% of the oil every day. You hear that? And then them call that half and half profit. You business partner walking away with 87% of every barrel of oil, and you getting 12.5%, and that is what they call half and half. And Jagdev telling Guyana we must not concern ourselves with the 75% they're taking out every day as expenses. Could you believe this thing, man? Eh? This is good going in this land, bro. This is perfect going, man. Man, Joshua, when I think about this thing, brother, I don't think there is any country on earth, even the African countries with the most corrupted leaders on earth, would allow this type of arrangement to go along in their oil sector. This is my Christmas challenge, uncle and auntie, to Jagdev, Ali, Norton, and Ramjatan, plus ExxonMobil. Show Guyana one oil contract on this living earth that has such a deal, such insanity, where that country gets 12.5% profit share after 75% is taken out as expenses. No taxes and no ring fencing provision with a stinking 2% royalty. Anytime I can show me that, I will give each one of you $1 million tomorrow morning. This I swear to God Almighty. All 5 or 4 of you, I will give $1 million Guyana. I swear to this nation and on God that I'll pay you guys. Show me one. Show this country one. Uncle, let me give all of you your Christmas gift before I go. Before I go. You're going to love this one. ExxonMobil already invested in excess of $50 billion out there, in which our oil is paying interest on. This is your Christmas gift. Let's put an interest rate using the international bank to which they apply to loans at 10%. At 10%. Hear me loud and clear. Guyana Oil is paying $5 billion interest alone every year. You hear that, brother? If we use 10% international loan arrangement, 50 billion is $5 billion interest alone. How much Guyana received from its oil? In 2022, just over $1 billion. You hear me, man? Just over $1 billion. $5 billion coming out from we oil every year to pay interest only on the loans that Exxon took. and we get just over 1 billion in 2022. You hear me, brother? If it's 8%, it's $4 billion they're going with. If it's 6%, it's $3 billion in interest alone. And nobody give you money for 6% in the world today. None. None. Are you doing a beautiful job in this country, man? $5 billion in interest alone. And you getting less than one as a 50-50 partnership. And when President Ali was asking Borbis what interest rate Guyana is paying, yes, paying on the investment out there, he told the man, oh, you're listening to the Lall show. We have the answers. We have all the answers for him. To this day, going on over a year, 5 billion US coming out every year. And that answer, that's one single answer, is still to come out from President Ali mouth or Jagdir's mouth or any one of the opposition mouth. That aisle out there is you and uncle. Auntie, that aisle out there is yours. You see why you got to take a break, brother? You really see why Lall have to take a break? Our lead story tomorrow, Kaieteur News, uncle. You gotta leave. Man, you got to sleep with this one. I'm sorry I gotta be so harsh with you people tonight, knowing it's Christmas. It's the Christmas holidays. Oil companies could take Guyana for a ride with uncapped interest rate for the Stabroek Block loans. Let me repeat that, man. Oil companies could take Guyana for a ride with uncapped interest rate for the Stabroek Block loans. Those words came not from any Guyanese or from Lall's mouth, uncle and auntie. Those words came out of the mouths from the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, the people who just lend poor countries money to feed them children. Yes, them begging Guyana, them begging President Ali to please put a cap on the interest rate so that the oil companies do not turn we wrong or turn we over and do what they have to do with us. That's what the people begging us. Isn't that a good Christmas gift y'all get, uncle? It is for me. It is for me. Tech stack of the interest rate you're paying, the people saying. Guyana paying more than 5 billion a year at a 10% interest rate alone from our oil. And we just get over $1 billion. You hear that, brother? This is why they can't answer these questions. That is one of the questions I was supposed to ask him at the press conference Friday. I went with 25 questions. And he always doing this. When I asked two, he said, allow other people to come back to me. And never come back to me. He wants no business with me. Me asking him the right questions. He prefer to go to the Chronicle, the Guyana Times, and critic, who's not a media. And take questions from them and spend the whole hour behind them. But my reporters and myself, he dodging, running, ducking, and hiding. Let me give you all another Christmas gift. One is not enough. You know, some people don't like one gift. You like more than one gift. Not true, man? Yeah. Joshua? You looking for 10, Joshua? The Ali government took 160 million US loan from the IDB. Yes. The International American Development Bank. Then they draw down 97 out of it to be used to upgrade and modernize the health sector, the hospitals and so on. Guess what President Ali and his government told the IDB uncle? You want to hear? You really want to hear? Not to disclose all the information for the 97 million US. You hear that, brother? The document is on the screen for those of you who can see it. Yes. That's another story that the Kaieteur News will carry Sunday coming. You hear that? The man instructing the bank while lend with the money not to disclose what them going to do with the money. 97 million US. And they can't give salary increase. That's almost 20 salary increase. You hear me? Overnight. They must tell the people for hide the information. Come on, man. Come on. What else more you need to hear in this country? Let me try to summarize what I said there, up there and everything. The 2% royalty, Jagdev still can't say if it is being huffed back by the right hand when it was given to us by the left hand. Jagdev cannot say exactly what is the exact amount Guyana is set to receive out of this oil deal. As for the cost and the expenses, I told you guys they're sailing down the Essequibo, Borbis and Demerara rivers. Concerning the interest rates, yes, I wish President Ali and Jagdeo can share that information as a Christmas gift to the Guyanese people. Wouldn't that be great, Josh?
Of course.
Huh? Yeah. But you think they will give that? No. I just want to share this 1-minute story with you before I take your phone calls. A wise man said, life is like a journey on a train with its stations, with changes of routes and with accidents. At birth, we boarded the train with our parents and we believe they will always travel on our side. However, at some station, our parents will step down from the train, leaving us on this journey alone. As time goes by, other people will board the train and they will be significant. That is, our siblings, friends, and even the love of our life with our children. Many will step down and leave a permanent vacuum. Others will go so unnoticed that we don't realize that they've vacated their seats, which is very sad when you think about it. This train ride will be full of joy, sorrows, fantasies, hellos, goodbyes, and farewells. Life consists of having good relationships with all the passengers, requiring that we give the best of ourselves. The mystery to everyone is we do not know at which station we ourselves will step down. So we must live in the best way, love, forgive, and offer the best of who we are. It is important to do this because when the time comes for us to step down and leave our seat empty, we should leave behind beautiful memories for those who will continue to travel on the train of life. I wish you all a joyful journey next year on the train of life and share lots of love. More importantly, give thanks to our Creator for the journey. Lastly, I thank you all for being one of the many passengers on my train throughout the year 2022. With that said, Uncle, let me take this minute to say on behalf of my entire staff, the staff of the Kaieteur News and the Kaieteur Radio, my family, and on my own behalf, a blessed and peaceful Christmas holidays to each and every one of you. May the light of our Creator shine on all of us, and good sense, decency, love, and hope prevail throughout 2023. Namaste. God bless. You want to hear my Christmas gift, Josh?
Yes.
Uncle and Auntie? My Christmas gift. I want all of you to ask one of the leaders, any of the leaders, every one of them, whenever and wherever you see them, ask them, what are we getting from this oil? What are we getting from this gold? Our diamond, our bauxite, our timber, our manganese. That's the gift I want from all of you. And please send their answers to me before Christmas. Whether it's positive or negative. Is that too much, Josh?
No, sir.
That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Now, for the victory, and I want to, now for the victory I told you guys of earlier. But I want to hear, and I want all of you to hear the victory from the horse's mouth itself. So I'm gonna ask one of them to speak, to tell you guys the victory Guyana got.
Hello?
Good evening, Simone. This is Glenn. I have you live on the air. You care to talk to the Guyanese people about the victory you guys have secured for Guyana.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me on the show this evening. Well, it's not my personal victory, though we've collectively been at this for about a year and a half. It's a historic moment for Guyana. The court ruling really is a win not only for Danuta and Van der Radzik and Mr. Raphael Singh with respect to the Schlumberger facility that is next door to their homes in Houston, but for our entire country. You know, in Guyana, we often behave as though democracy begins and ends with free and fair elections. And that's just not true. Elections are just a part of democracy. The real proof is how you go on to govern, and particularly if you follow the rule of law. Now, this court ruling is historic because it is a win for democracy in Guyana and for the rule of law in environmental management. Now, just before I go forward, I want to make it clear that the court challenge that the Radzik sisters and Mr. Singh brought was not a challenge to the activities of the oil and gas sector, which so many of us are looking to for economic benefit through jobs and businesses, etc. No one was saying here to stop the activities altogether. The challenge was to the way in which these activities are being conducted.
Perfect.
It was about the irresponsible and incompetent public management, about the brazenly illegal manner in which the Environmental Protection Agency has been processing and granting permits for oil and gas related operations. And it's really important to our listeners to understand that oil and gas activities are like none other seen before in Guyana. They are extremely toxic, and if not properly located and properly regulated, they can be dangerous to our health, damaging to the air we breathe, the water we drink, the fish we eat, and that so many depend on for their livelihoods. So among other things, this ruling specifically addresses two standards that the Environmental Protection Agency has been alerted to time and time again, but has simply ignored citizens and failed to meet. So if you have some time, I don't know what the time is like, I can tell you what these two standards are and why it is important that we have this ruling for Guyana.
Go ahead.
So the first is the standard of explanation that the law requires from the Environmental Protection Agency when it grants a permit for an activity, as well as when it makes a decision not to grant a permit, and also in a situation where it makes a decision not to conduct what's called an environmental impact assessment. So let me explain this. When you apply to the EPA, you say, look, I want to run a toxic waste facility in Houston. The EPA takes the application, it looks at it and it says, okay, this thing could really affect people, so I'm going to require an environmental impact assessment, which is just a study of all the ways in which it can affect people in the environment and how we can avoid these things. Or the EPA can say, this isn't going to bother anybody, I'm not going to require a permit. Regardless of the decision it takes, it is by law required to publish technical reasons backing up the decision it made. And those reasons must be, and this is what the court backed us up on today as citizens, it said that those reasons must be of a quality that enables the public and a court of law to scrutinize both the soundness and the fairness of the decision. Now, the EPA did not do this in the case of the Schlumberger facility in Houston, and this is where the Radzik sisters and Mr. Singh won their case today. But if you look back at the news and the concerns I and others have raised in writing repeatedly, the EPA did not publish the technical reasons when it granted the Yellowtail permit for oil drilling. It did not publish those reasons either when it waived environmental impact assessments for offshore exploratory drilling. It did not publish those reasons when it issued the gas to shore permit. Now, it's important to understand that technical reasons must be clear, scientific explanations, not things like we studied it hard and decided it would be safe, or a foreigner came and told us it was safe. The agency must address the actual areas of concern and the scientific evidence it has that makes it comfortable that it is making a good decision to put a facility or to allow a particular activity offshore or onshore. So that's the first part. The whole, so to sum it up, you have to be able to justify the decision you make. You can't just make it and then leave the public in the dark. Now, the second part of the ruling, which is very important, is that the judge made it clear that the EPA cannot chop a project into parts and treat with each part separately by giving different permits as though the parts don't function to create a whole project. So in the case of Schlumberger, the EPA tried to treat the construction of the facility for radioactive waste handling separately and apart from the operation of the facility. Can you believe it? They tried to do two separate permits and say, well, the construction isn't going to have any effect. But why would you be constructing if it were not to do something with it?
Exactly.
And what would be the impact of the thing you do with it? Now, this is the level of reasoning that we're seeing in our Environmental Protection Agency. And it is the same thing that the EPA has done with gas to shore. So even back in July of 2021, when it invited public comments on the terms of reference for that project, it was alerted. I wrote to the EPA that the requirement of the law was that it must treat the power plant, the NGL facility, and the pipeline together. Instead, what it is doing, and what it has done, is it treats the power plant separately from the pipeline and the NGL facility, when in fact that gas operation is so dangerous and unstable that you have to deal not only with how the gas is coming in, but also how it will be shipped off the facility and be taken up by the power plant. Failure to do so gives you an incomplete and nonsensical environmental impact assessment. And that's what we have in hand right now. So this court ruling is more than about Schlumberger. It is shedding light on exactly what standard the law is requiring of the Environmental Protection Agency. But I think the main question tonight, Glenn, is, and I think what people must be asking is, how does this court ruling translate into a win for all Guyanese people?
Yes.
Not some, but all Guyanese. And so perhaps we can address that. First is that it means that we have an irrefutable standard to which we can hold the EPA. Before you could slip in and slip out and run away and all of that. It means that we now have clear guidance to politicians, policymakers, and the EPA itself on what is expected of them, and it prevents them from wriggling out of it. Mm-hmm. Secondly, it empowers people everywhere to get information. The information and the due respect and regard they deserve when it comes to our right to know, as well as our right to participate in decisions that profoundly affect our lives. Mm-hmm. Like putting a dangerous facility that's handling toxic waste brought in from offshore, radioactive substances, and gas plants with explosive risks next door to where little children are sleeping in their beds.
Simone.
In places where it can spoil our water resource. It means now the communities can start holding this agency accountable in a way that was more difficult before the ruling. It also allows us to go back to all the wrongdoings to date that the Environmental Protection Agency has racked up, and hopefully to move forward constructively to ensure that the agency has both the resource and the level of competence it needs to meet the standards of law, as well as that it has the technical specialists who are able to work and arrive at decisions that are free from external interference and direction. Because it is those external interference and direction that has consistently or can consistently lead to these decisions that are irrational on the part of the EPA, that cannot stand up to reasoning, and that ultimately end up being against the interest of the Guyanese people. So that is my full, before we even have a conversation, the beginning of the conversation is that this is very momentous for us. It is something that all Guyanese must recognize, that we have a win and we should celebrate this win. And we should do something with it. And just to say finally, Glenn, I think that it is a message to everyone, and to young people especially, who make up half the country, because it's about your future. Do not believe that there's nothing you can do. If you stand up and you act in the right manner, in a constructive manner, and you engage the processes, you can change the way things work.
I hear you.
And I think the Radzik sisters and Mr. Singh have shown us wonderfully, through their tenacity, their hard work, and the stress that they put up with for over a year, coming into 2 years. Mm-hmm. In this case, they have achieved for all of us, and they've demonstrated that if you stand up, you can count. You can be counted.
Simone, thank you so much. Can you please, I have a question for you, but before I ask the question, could you shed some light on to the Guyanese people? Let them know, let them get an understanding of what radioactive chemicals is all about.
Okay, so radioactivity is not like a chemical reaction. It's where you have the materials of everything in the world is made up of smaller and smaller and smaller parts. They can be broken down into smaller and smaller parts. And the tiniest parts that you can find in something is called an atom. And at this level, there is an energy that is nuclear. And when we split these atoms, or these atoms over time, they give off a type of radiation. So it's not a chemical, it's a radiation. Now, if you've gone for an X-ray, you would know what a radiation is. If you've gone for a CT scan, you know what radiation is. So you don't want a lot of radiation on your body because it will penetrate your cells, it will damage them, it leads to cancer, it leads to radiation, disease, organ failure, etc. So radiation is a particular thing. If you've ever heard of the atomic bomb or Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that's a level of radiation that's extremely high. But in our everyday lives, there is a background of radiation we get naturally. And then there are substances that are radioactive that may be in an industry that may expose you to a higher level of radiation. Now, radiation is particularly problematic for young growing children. Because your cells are dividing, and every time your cells are dividing and growing that fast, you have a much higher disposition towards developing cancers. It affects everyone. So anyone who has to live near a facility handling radioactive waste has a reason to be worried and a right to be convinced by the Environmental Protection Agency with evidence that they will be safe. And as it turns out, the agency did not do so in the siting of the Schlumberger facility. They were also attempting to site a facility in Coverdon. They have allowed toxic waste treatment to come from offshore. And just so the public is also aware, the offshore oil rig operations are going so deep into the earth that they're bringing up naturally radioactive waste. That waste is coming on barges, on ships to the Demerara, up the Demerara River. These facilities in Coverdon and along the in the Houston area are supposedly treating them to make them the radioactive and other waste, whatever there is, are supposedly being treated to be safe and dumping them at the Hog's Wash.
My God.
Where you are sending your cooking oil and your napkins right in the middle of Georgetown, above the water that's flooding and spreading all over everybody's yard, and just above the water table, where everything goes underground eventually, will mix eventually over time, and you're going to drink it. So what has happened with the EPA is it has been unable to show what is the amount of waste that's coming. There is no public record. There is no regulatory system that allows us to see. They have waived the environmental impact assessment for all of these waste facilities, which is unheard of anywhere in the world. We don't know what's coming in. We don't know if they're in fact being treated as the operators say they are. We don't know if they're actually safe because nothing is available to the public to know. And this is the main concern I have with the oil and gas industry in Guyana. I am not taking the position that we should not exploit oil or gas. I have concerns about the climate, but I also recognize that oil has a lot of uses other than as a fuel. There are many industries that depend on it, hospital equipment, the kinds of things that we're using every day in our lives come out of this industry. So there is some value and use to it. The question of energy usage is a big one. It's a fair one. We are seeing weather patterns change we're flooding all the time in Guyana now. But we have to be sensible about how we exploit it and how much of it we exploit. And how we exploit it is a way in which we're not being sensible to date. The EPA is not living up to the level of competency and the standards that is required of an environmental protection agency handling an industry like this. And it really needs support. The government has not gone forward with a loan from the World Bank that was meant to improve the ability of the agency to handle these kinds of industries. And it is really not set up to handle what it is having to face on a day-to-day basis. And we as the public need to demand that the agency has first and foremost the resources and the expertise it needs to do the job that is required of it. And secondly, that political interests and other types of interests stop interfering and directing the work of the EPA, because this is now being widely alleged that it happens as part of a course. I won't get into that any further, but I think it would be very hard to, certainly as an environmental specialist, it would be very hard to see how the environmental specialists inside the EPA are arriving at some of the decisions they arrive at from a technical perspective. These are not technical decisions. They cannot be justified.
All right. Simone, I have two quick questions for you. You think for a moment that the head of the EPA would approve such a treatment plant next to where he lives? He and his family?
Well, I would not speculate.
All right. My next question. Thank you. My next question. This ruling today with the permit, does it apply to the permits for the gas to shore and the permit issued for Yellowtail, the fourth oil project?
Well, I think the law is clear. We know, and we have already grieved, and we have already said that the Yellowtail permit did not meet the standard of the law, and now we have a ruling that backs us up. But I think it applies absolutely. Of course it does.
Maybe I'll have to ask the lawyer for that.
We can ask a lawyer, but I think that I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not an expert in oil and gas. I should have everyone know that. I consider myself a student. But these issues are so basic, Glenn, that the EPA should not have gotten it wrong in the first place. You didn't need a lawyer to know what the law required. You just had to read the damn act. It says it plain and straight. And you would have to be really not either having regard for the people of Guyana, treating us with contempt, or being a crook, frankly, to pretend you don't understand what that means. And frankly, at this point in time, after alerting the EPA over and over again, I think the Guyanese people have very solid ground for asking what has been going on in there. What is really happening? This is not something, and I want to draw your attention to something else. Those foreign companies have millions of dollars and some of the most fantastic international lawyers on staff. So they would have been able to read those laws and understood what was required. They didn't need really a judge to go to court, to sit in court and explain it for them.
I hear you.
You see, what is really going on here is everybody is doing what they can get away with. And the EPA was doing what it could get away with, and now it can't get away with these two things. There are other things that it's doing, but these two things, it was unable to get away with in the case of Schlumberger. And it's now left to us in Guyana to hold it accountable, to make sure it doesn't get away with it in any other circumstance. Now, I'm not saying that individuals in the EPA are corrupt individually, and I'm not saying that I'm not going to speculate any further on why they do it, whether it's laziness or whatever. I don't know the reason, but what I will say is the decisions were not rational. They were consistently not meeting the standard, and they have consistently ignored over a period of a year and a half the feedback given to them from the public concerning the fact that they were not actually meeting the requirements of the law. So hopefully this ruling will help everybody have clarity and move forward.
Thank you so much, Simone. It was certainly a pleasure having you on this program, speaking to the Guyanese people. I want to wish you and your family a very happy, merry, and a prosperous New Year. And let me say a big thank you to you and Ms. Radzik and the Singh and the other Vanda. Just convey my wish to them and my appreciation for this fight. I hope more people can see this and join along. Come along with us and let's take this fight. You know, Are you there, Mr. Simon?
I'm here,
Yeah,
and I wish you and the Kaieteur family a happy Christmas as well.
Thank you.
And the Guyanese people. And I think what's really important, though, is that we must understand that we fighting each other as Guyanese is not the best thing for us. We should take these opportunities, as we just have, and think about, if I were a policymaker or I were the head of the EPA, I would sit down right now and ask myself, how do I do this better? And we in Guyana need to sit on the outside as citizens, and we must always hold our representatives and public servants accountable. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you don't like them. It doesn't mean that you're trying to take their jobs. It doesn't mean that you have a political gain to get from a party. It means you're a good citizen and a good person.
Simone.
Hold them accountable.
Simone, I thank you for being a diplomat. I thank you for being a diplomat.
I'm not sure I was that diplomatic, but thanks a lot, Gad.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a great evening.
You too. Happy Christmas to
Yes,
everyone.
Merry Christmas. Simone puts it over so eloquently, so diplomat. But I have been saying, Simone, everything that happens wrong in this land, it comes from one man. He's putting everybody to blows. Bharat Jagdev told Guyana and told me that Guyana will get insurance, full liability coverage. And when we keep banging him, constantly keep asking him, he switched it to the poor EPA head. He wants everybody to believe, well, is the EPA head not doing their job? Look, this is a clear example, Uncle and Auntie. These people had to move to the courts to get a ruling. What the EPA did. EPA gave permit for Houston Base to put on a deadly plant, a recycling plant for, you heard it, the radioactive materials. And it's wrong. A judge has to step in now and reverse it. You really think, Simone, you really think that the young man sitting at the helm of EPA made that choice or made that decision? No. He was instructed to do that. And it's the same, that's why I asked the question, if the permit goes for the Yellowtail and the Gas Shore project. Both projects were issued with permit from the EPA. Did they meet the requirements? No way they didn't. They did not. But I'm happy that you guys are fighting the fight with me. And I must tell you guys, the same judge is listening to my case against ExxonMobil. So here we go. I'm not saying nothing else. Just tell you, Mr. Judge Justice Hananan. Josh, we have time? We got 3 minutes more? All right. This was too much for the people. This is too much for this. This is too much. This is too much.
Hi.
This is too much.
Good night, Mr. Ben.
Good night, sir.
Good night, sir. Hello?
Yes, good night.
Mr. Ben.
Good night, sir.
Yeah, thank Father for them people who we just get for come and thing. I like the nation we're going on. Cause them same fish in the sea where people eating too, man. You can see them start get cancer and sick eventually. And I think, Mr. Glenn, people have to go to jail, as I always keep calling you on this program. We need them in jail. People have to go to jail. Both sides. These people have to go in jail. We want to see them, and the things alone they're doing, they just imagine they hear everybody in this country crying out them and got Christmas and these band and got time with the plunging money all over the place and they're playing at their face to how people crying out, right? And dollars bring civil war in any country or island or anywhere. Cause the people aren't getting nothing, and all you taking billions and plunge here, there and everywhere, and you're hearing or you're studying what the people's want, or you don't got time with the people, right? And thanks for this fight we're putting up against them, but then I would feel happy for here that they're in jail. These people have to be, yeah, the woman just said, they have to hold them accountable for their actions. All both sides don't want them sit down easy and then saying nothing there. Nah, them you saw them, the other one will sit down easy, we name again. Nagamutuna, them Ramjatan, and them, they have to face it. They have to face it to all them coming out and Jordan and all of them because they know what's going on there.
I hear you, brother.
Thanks very much.
Have a Merry Christmas.
Season greetings, boss.
Same to you and your family, bro. Thank you.
Against them.
Good evening. Good evening, sir. You're live.
Hi, good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. I'm calling from Region 2. Congratulations for the good work that you are doing. And that sister that called from overseas just now.
Yes.
That was a very good speech she gave about the EPA just now. And you remember last week I had call about the billboard that Barajagi said he can see billboard up in this country.
Billboards in Borby, Sasikibo, all over.
You know what happened to that guy Barajagi? I believe he got in my classes speech, you know. God will take away his speech.
Nah, man. Not go down the road. Not go down the road. Listen, God seeing everything, and He knows best. All right?
Yes.
He's gonna fix everything for all of us. Let me don't wish nobody anything. Let me don't wish anybody anything.
This guy telling a lot of lie, and people believe in this guy.
Well, you know, I wanted to tell Guyana, stop listening to these people what they're saying. Keep them, not at an arm's length. Keep them with a 10-foot pole stick away.
Yes.
But listen, man, listen, they will run out. They will run out of lies. They will run out of scampishness. Trust me. You know, I just...
Life wouldn't be prospering. Life wouldn't be carried through.
I just want you to keep your eyes on a Marriott hotel. I hope they don't sell out the money-making machine. You understand? They're putting special conditions, putting it up for sale. Man,
yes.
Only a handful of people can meet the requirements. They done,
yes, that's true.
They done got the owner set aside who will be the owner of it. I only hope they don't sell them out on Christmas Day. But I just want to let you know, my friend, anything they do from now to next year, if I have to come out my bed, even if I have to come out my house Christmas Day to come and do a program to let you guys know what they're doing, I will. Yeah. I will let them announce it on the radio. You know,
yes,
I will come out.
I'm glad for that.
And I want you guys to know that I will not be here until the new year, but programs will be playing. And who knows? Yes. Who knows? I may very well just rush up into the radio room and say, guys, let's get going. Thank you, sir, and Merry Christmas to you and the family.
Yeah, same to you and all you.
I wish all of you on the Esquivel Coast a very Merry Christmas.
Same to you, your family and your staff too.
Thank you, brother. Thanks, bye. Josh?
Yes, sir.
It's Christmas.
It is.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, guys.
Many happy returns.
Good. We take a break.
All right.
Bye-bye.
The third world is not poor. You don't go to poor countries to make